In this episode, we're going to learn what it's like to be on SAW's board of directors. We'll be speaking with board member Russell Ben-Ghiat right after this. You're listening to SAW Talks, the go-to podcast for issues concerning Northeast Ohio's community of adults with developmental disabilities. Hi, I'm Kathy with SAW's marketing team. Welcome to another episode of SAW Talks. In our past episodes, we spent some time talking with individuals and families and staff, but another important piece of SAW's work comes from its board of directors. To learn more about what it's like to be on SAW's board of directors, we're speaking with board member Russell Ben-Ghiat. And Russell, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and speaking with us today.
My pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your career background?
I began my career working in advertising agencies in Ohio and Michigan and founded my own marketing firm here in 1983. Then I successfully sold it in 2013 and part-time have been concentrating as a strategic planner, CEO advisor, and board member.
Excellent. Well, we definitely want to talk about that board member piece. So it sounds, you're still doing some work, but you are retired. And so I just wonder, if community service was an important part of what you were thinking about for your retirement plans.
Definitely. First, I plan to have more time for personal pursuits about which I'm passionate. I'm a genealogy geek and trace my family back to 1038.
Wow.
Book and poetry reading groups, staying fit, swimming laps. I love cooking dinners and visiting with family and friends. And now that my wife and I are vaccinated, we're transitioning from virtual visits to in-person visits, which is just wonderful. So though I can fully retire, I didn't want to, and I'm grateful to have the freedom to do things that really turn me on. So over the decades, I've learned a lot of successful business practices working closely with clients, and that's large corporations like Dow Chemical, Hamilton Beach, Marzetti, McDonald's, Meijer, and Sam's Club. And I've also learned a slew of successful practices very different from innovative startups that introduce a game-changing service or product. So I get great satisfaction from sharing my knowledge after all these years, and then also mentoring leaders. And this is both for businesses and also for community organizations. Though I believe that the quality of life depends on the quality of the community I live in. Plus, just as it's imperative to be a team member for business success, it's just as important to be a team member in community organizations. And the difference is that it's so gratifying to collect with like-minded and like-hearted individuals in community organizations, and then we can multiply our power to accomplish together what we couldn't dream to accomplish by ourselves.
That's wonderful. I love that, really taking your drive to help, organizations succeed. And like you said, work with like-minded individuals to really achieve some great things. And so that kind of has driven, your community service work.
They've been on the board of SAW for almost 20 years. So a friend of mine who is on the board recommended me to them because they were looking for somebody with marketing and sales expertise. And I said yes, because individuals with developmental disabilities deserve support to reach their full potential, to enjoy the satisfaction of work and the satisfaction of a paycheck, to have a place where they can enjoy a social life and long-term friendships, and also to have a place where they feel safe and they're involved and integrated into their community.
I love that, because what I think is really neat, a lot of maybe the staff members we talk to, or obviously the families, like they have an individual with developmental disabilities in their life, or they encountered, working with that population early on. And it's neat that like you've kind of found out about this position because of your marketing expertise. What can you share if, maybe other people are thinking about, being on a board of directors and working with a population of adults with developmental disabilities, but maybe they aren't so familiar with that population. It sounds like, you kind of dove in and then, you've stayed for 20 years. So something must have caught your heart there.
Right. Well, the thing that really caught my heart is first, we before the pandemic, we had meetings at each of our centers. And at each center, there is a worker council composed of people with developmental disabilities that are elected by their peers. And they plan events, they advocate for themselves in the workplace, but they also plan social events and activities. And they also select groups that they fundraise for, like food banks and other organizations. And they make a presentation to the board at every meeting from the different locations. So this is really amazing. But the most amazing thing is the annual meeting. And at the annual meeting, each of the locations selects a worker of the year. And there's a presentation or a little video about this person who has done an outstanding job in their workplace, helps other people along. You can see the pride that they have and that their family has, and it's really one of the most heartwarming events that I attend in a year.
That's so great. I love, how powerful that was for you, and really, made you feel like this is something that you want to be part of and have been part of for a long time. So how do you think that SAW stands out from other providers? Because there's other providers, that take care of adults with developmental disabilities, but how is SAW different?
Well, there's a number of ways. Well, first, we were closely in line with the County Board of Developmental Disabilities for 50 years. So we have a lot of experience of caring for and supporting people with disabilities. Second, we're nonprofit. And now there are a number of nonprofit and for-profit providers. Our number one goal is to provide quality service to support the quality of the life of the people that we're working with. And our staff, who are in day-to-day contact with our clients, we generally pay them better, and we have paid better benefits than for-profit providers. So our staff has superb education, training, experience, and above all, dedication. It's a career choice for them.
Yeah, definitely a career choice. Yeah, I know, we've talked to staff members on this podcast and, the families, and, they all seem, very, very passionate about their work and about the work that SAW does. So tell me a little bit about being on the board of directors. Like, how often do you meet, and what kind of things do you do, and what decisions do you make?
Well, we oversee the successful operation of a multi-million-dollar enterprise with multiple locations, hundreds of employees, including professional staff and adults with developmental disabilities. We make sure that we do it in a way that's consistent with our organizational goals and our vision. So our board oversight is similar to running any business organization. We review and approve the annual budget, monthly financials, review annual health and liability insurance proposals, give and receive committee reports and updates. We expand the successful programs, and we cut back or halt the least successful programs. We also provide oversight to the executive director and the management team. And of course, we weigh in on major opportunities and issues the organization is facing. So like every other organization, we were whiplashed by the coronavirus pandemic and needed to quickly and nimbly create pivoting strategies in response to constantly changing conditions: temporary shutdowns, furloughs, work from home policies, PPP loans, cash flow issues, and vendor, customer, and employee issues. And then we started pivoting towards policies how to partially and slowly and safely open up again our adult activity centers across the county on a limited basis, consistent with ever-changing federal and state requirements. And now, once again, as staff and consumers are receiving their vaccines, we're pivoting again towards more positive changes, safely opening up our centers more fully. So again, all the things that businesses are facing, we're facing as well. The board meets one morning a month for about an hour and a half. And of course, now everything is Zoom, which is very convenient in February in Cleveland. And we have a board meeting Thursday. I'm in Florida. I can join from there on Zoom. So that makes it easier, easier for everybody. On the board, there is limited work on committees that directly benefit from your areas of expertise. For example, marketing or legal, finance or fundraising. Again, just like a board on any for-profit company.
It sounds like, you've had to do, so much, especially in this year. So, but you're mainly meeting once a month. And then what about like events? Do board members kind of attend events and, get involved that way as they wish?
Yes. So there are a number of ways. First, there's always 2 or 3 board members who have a family member, a sibling or a child that are served by SAW. And so usually they're involved on a local basis in one of the adult activity centers, and then gets to SAW. But there are voluntary opportunities in the centers, in other activities that SAW has. So there's a lot of ways to participate as directly as you want as well.
Okay, so you can kind of be flexible with it. You mentioned that people can get involved from, whatever their background is. If they're in finance or they're in, legal or marketing like you, are there any committees or positions where you're really needing somebody right now and you need extra help?
Yes, because we've recently changed our status due to changes in federal and state law. We're currently looking for additional members with strong backgrounds in development and fundraising.
What kind of development?
Well, basically in non-for-profits, development is the way that they raise funds from donors. And okay. This is a fairly new endeavor for us in an area where we really don't have a lot of expertise on the board.
Okay, so maybe somebody that's used to raising money for non-profit organizations. But besides, even if somebody doesn't have that particular background, what kind of person do you think would make a good board member for SAW? Maybe just, as far as dedication or personality or desire? As
you mentioned, we have experts from different professions, marketing, attorneys, a COO, somebody in HR, quality improvement, finance. We have an executive director from another nonprofit, and as with any board, we need a broad cross-section of experience and expertise, because I always find that I always learn something at a board meeting. Because there's so many different perspectives being offered. But I think it's important for the SAW board, for someone who's looking for something to do that provides an inner satisfaction, that makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel good for what you're doing for people in your community. And it's a good way to use just a little bit of your time in a very productive way.
So if someone's maybe thinking about joining the board, we've gone over kind of some of the time commitments and maybe some of the skills that could make somebody a good candidate. But maybe they're just not sure. Maybe they're just kind of thinking about it. What would you say to them to, if they were considering joining the board of directors?
So I'd say that if you're looking for a way to use your talents and your skills and your knowledge and connections to make an impact on deserving but underserved people in our community, the SAW board is terrific. We all have a very common purpose. It's a very collegial board. And all the individuals that we want to serve deserve the opportunity to grow and to develop their efforts to reach their potential. So it's very, very satisfying from that perspective. So if you think about that, the great song from Hamilton, My Shot, everybody with developmental disabilities deserves a chance to rise up, and everybody deserves their shot. And this gives me the opportunity to help them, and it makes me feel great.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time, Russell. We really appreciate it. And I want to thank everyone for listening too. If you're interested in possibly serving on SAW's board of directors, you can reach out to CEO Judy Carey. We'll include her email in the show notes, or you can contact SAW directly at sawinc.org. You can learn more about SAW by visiting the website as well and following SAW on Facebook and LinkedIn. Feel free to leave a comment or ask us a question. And if you like what you hear, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to SAW Talks. Stay up to date with our latest episodes by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Like what you hear? Share this episode and leave us feedback. We look forward to hearing from you.